Hey everyone, and welcome to the 65th episode of We're All in the Same Boat. I'm your host, Luke Roxwold, and today I am just here with Nick.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's right.
This is going to be a very boring podcast. Everyone just close off now. It's just me. Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's closing the podcast app right now, like, okay, done with this one.
Wait, it's just Nick? Oh gosh. I like those other guys, but
That's right.
Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, as always, you can check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Awesome. Leave us a review on iTunes. We've been getting a lot of reviews, which is so cool. I love showing all the people on the podcast the stars.
What
It
stars?
makes it feels the on iTunes.
Oh, the ratings? Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves seeing those. So if you guys don't want to throw money at us, which you're still welcome to do, please just leave us a review. That would be awesome. So, just
Or don't. It's fine. Like, fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
You have the freedom to do whatever you want. We're not trying to force you here.
Right. Nick, welcome to the podcast. We kind of had a pretty crazy day where people weren't able to make it, and so we had a lot of things switch up. But guess what, listeners? We are good at maneuvering on our feet. So we've got a whole... But seriously, we kind of are. Like, we have a whole episode planned.
This is actually going to be pretty fun, I hope. Like,
yeah.
I really enjoy this topic, so...
Yeah, we had to kind of scramble a little bit because some plans changed, but we were ready to go.
This is 3 hours of prep, people.
Yeah. We are going to be talking about a movie that just recently came out that I didn't know anything about. And Nick was like, yo, has anyone seen this movie? And I was like,
you gotta see it, man.
I was like,
you gotta see this movie, man.
No, it is. Oh, actually, now, I didn't want to have this conversation while no one else was on the podcast, but they all bailed, so
you know
it's
what?
just going to be you and me.
They don't get to be here.
I'd like to formally introduce that Nick has agreed to be officially a part of the podcast. You know, he's been on a bunch of episodes. He's added a lot, and I kind of just assumed, like, hey, let's keep this guy on board, and asked him a couple days ago if he would like to be a regular. So, welcome.
Thanks, man. This is definitely partially for fun, partially a mental exercise, because it's something I'm doing consistently and that I'm very uncomfortable with, and partially a practice in speech, because I'm trying to get better at speaking and public speaking. So it's all of those things combined into one.
It really is. And I was explaining to somebody that I like doing this podcast specifically because how many times in anyone's life let me think about how I'm trying to word this because it's not easy.
See, there you go.
If you think about most people, they never get to hear themselves having a real conversation with somebody else.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
They maybe can make a Snapchat story or an Instagram video or something like that where they record themselves having a conversation, but that's not like a real conversation because you got the camera you're holding and it's a little off and weird. But on this, I get to hear myself debate. I get to hear myself tell a story, and I get to sit back and listen to it and go, oh yeah, no wonder no one likes me. You know, I'm like, wow, that guy's really annoying.
I definitely have monitored like my tone when I say certain things and realized that there's a disconnect there, and there's been some good moments and bad moments that I've listened back to personally. I don't want to get into them, but I think everyone kind of has that when they listen back to themselves in a conversation. So
yeah, it's like I'll listen to something that I thought I was explaining super well, and when I listened back to it, I'm like, no wonder everyone was confused. That makes no sense.
It's horrible.
That's really the benefit of this, and plus it's just fun. It's fun to get everyone together and have something like this set up. So
I'd say it's super fun too. Yeah.
Okay, so Nick brought up a movie that I didn't know anything about. It's called Searching. And I don't even know if this film is big.
It's not.
Doing live research.
It's it's a very critically acclaimed film, but no one's going to see it.
Yeah.
Which kind of stinks, right? But still,
It's
I mean,
92 on Rotten Tomatoes, 9.7 on IMDb. A lot of critic reviews on here. Here's the New York Times.
7.9 on IMDb. 9.7 is like Godfather.
Did I say 9.7? Oops. See, dyslexic.
It's better than The Godfather, people. That's how good this movie is.
That's right. Yeah, people are saying it's really good. And so I didn't know anything about it. I saw Sony stamped all over the trailer. So I was like,
definitely.
Oh boy, Sony. I hate Sony.
Why do you hate Sony, though?
I think Sony is my least favorite movie making company. I'm trying to think of.
They ruined Spider-Man, kind of.
Yeah,
didn't
they ruined Spider-Man. Hold up. Let me see if I can pull up a list of their movies, and almost all their movies are bad. I remember. I was looking at something, and it was like a whole bunch of their movies, and I was like, these all suck. Sony's horrible.
Were they the ones that got hacked by North Korea because of the film they made with James Franco making fun of Kim Jong-un? Was that Sony? Is that the right company?
Yes, I think it was Sony.
I think it's something like that. Yeah. They don't have good PR either.
Yeah, they just make bad, like they make very corporate, or not corporate.
It's like what a lot of Warner Brothers films have become. They're just kind of eating
cash
garbage.
grab.
Yeah, cash grab.
Yeah, and so I wasn't super excited. Like the Venom movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man movies that have come out.
So this was a surprise. This was is what you're saying.
Yeah,
right?
And so just to say it, we will be talking about spoilers in this review.
Searching.
I would say I can't decide if we're gonna give them a warning beforehand.
No, this is it. From here on out, I am not censoring myself. I'm going in, dude.
But I want people to listen to the episode. Like, let's try and like tell them when we're gonna go into spoilers, because we can give them the premise first. So
so let's talk about the movie first, and then we'll dive in later. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So I saw this movie at a sit-down movie theater with the like dentist chairs, like the like go back little machine chairs.
Those are sweet though.
Yeah, and I got food too, so it was kind of a cool experience. But the movie is like an hour and 40 minutes, so it's not as long as some Marvel movies, but it's not real short either. And it's kind of a simple premise. Basically, there's a father of a daughter, or sorry, there's a couple. They have a daughter. The mom dies, and then the dad's taking care of the daughter, and the daughter disappears. That's like the premise of the movie. So it's like
she gone.
Simple. Yeah,
searching for my daughter. That's basically the plot.
I'm looking at my notes, and it's like reading a doctor's handwriting. It's trash.
3 hours of prep. So.
Let's do this. There's gonna be spoilers, guys. Go see this movie. And like,
it's hard, right? It's
if you're not gonna see this movie, like if you're not interested in this movie, then just listen to the review. But it's not like a crazy story. Like it's not like there's
it's a good
like
thriller.
twists
You'll have a
to
good
it
time.
and stuff like that. But
you'll have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do this then.
Just go in.
You talk.
So this is
why did you see this movie, Nick? What made you see it?
So I had seen the movie Unfriended. And I saw Unfriended on a whim with Sarah, and it was one of those things where I was like, I don't really care if I'm impressed by this movie or not. The other movie we were trying to go to was sold out. Did it last minute. We just wanted to see something real quick.
Can we go back? Because is Unfriended similar to this? I didn't see that movie.
Yeah. Unfriended is another desktop thriller. And I guess that's kind of like the whole gimmick with these kind of movies is it all takes place not in a traditional, or it's not all filmed in a traditional way. It all takes place through like computer screens, iPhone it's basically through a screen that you're viewing these things, and the cameras and the scenes that are formed are through, I guess, that lens, and that's the idea of like the desktop thriller is that it all either will take place like on a screen, like on a TV, like.
Yeah, like I would say like 80% of the movie is through FaceTime.
Right, exactly. and then there's other parts where it's like YouTube. You're seeing news articles and news stories through like the internet, like on your computer screen as you would. You see like Skype calls and things like that. So, and they really make a good use of blending all these different immersive experience. That's the word that I use to describe this film is immersive. It's one of the most immersive movies for our generation. And part of the reason I want to talk about it is because that's a huge claim, and I want someone to like maybe bring me back down from reality to reality, because it's like I am seeing so much potential with this genre. Because I've seen Unfriended, I've seen The Den, and I haven't seen the Unfriended sequel, but I've watched parts of it online, and I think this movie is the best out of all. Out of those three before that I watched, this one was the best by far, and so I can't wait to see this genre evolve.
So let's break some of this down a little bit. You said that you saw this film. What was the phrasing you used? You said you thought
Immersive.
this film immersive,
A desktop thriller. Yeah,
but it's like the most immersive film for our generation.
For I guess maybe not millennials, but at least the Generation Z. They're called the I generation by some.
What is that real?
Yeah, like sociologists and social psychologists have started labeling Generation Z like the I generation because they're captured by screens and their phones and stuff like that. They're pretty immersed in that.
Right.
And so something about this movie, like looking towards the future, I feel like this genre is going to expand in a different way. And it's going to be like very particular. It's going to have a very particular audience, generation.
Right. Because
I
know
think that's what they're trying to do.
The film, so like here's how the film kind of opens, just for those of you who obviously haven't seen it yet. Total throwback. Because it starts out with like the Windows XP green mountain or little hills with the blue sky and
with the start button on the bottom left.
No, and I love how it's like, you haven't ran your antivirus in a while, and I was
Norton
like,
Antivirus wants to update.
It's like I sound old. It's like when people see VHS tapes, like, oh yeah, do you remember when the
snow, and then it rewinded and it made that noise.
And then I was watching, so they show like YouTube on it, but they show the old YouTube, they show the old Skype.
It throws you back. Dude.
It literally was like really pretty crazy to see that stuff. But like we said, the whole movie pretty much takes place on the computer, almost all of it, really.
Yeah.
And all of it, the whole movie.
The whole movie.
So like they show stuff through FaceTime, they show stuff through like a live stream, they show like news channels, but the news channels are on the news channel internet page. So the whole movie takes place from, basically the computer is the camera. The computer is a character that captures all of the
he's almost the narrator.
You're basically the computer in the movie.
Yeah, the computer's like your narrator taking you through this journey.
Yeah, so like the movie starts, and I'm trying to remember how they show that the mom dies.
Basically, they show the mom uploading all these memories, because it starts off on the mom's profile. So the Windows XP loads up, and it's the mom's profile, and you're watching her like it's like a montage going through the life.
Right. She's like putting stuff into her calendar. She's taking photos off the camera and putting them in different folders, and maybe
keeping track of the kids' memories. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
She'll open up the video, so you see a video of the mom and the kids hanging out. Then she creates this calendar like, oh, I'm gonna take my daughter to piano, and then it shows her sending an email to the teacher or something, and so it's all taking place from the perspective of the computer, but then it goes to the daughter's profile. So now the daughter's the one on the computer, and you see her put in a calendar event that says, Mom coming home from the hospital, yay.
Yeah, there's like different transitions to different computers, and they make the transition pretty obvious. And by the way, just real quick, the characters are, the dad is David, played by John Cho. Pamela Kim is played by Sarah Sohn. And then you see Margot, who's the daughter. The montage, you watch her grow up, actresses, and then the actress itself that you actually see during the movie is Michelle La. And that's the family. It's the Kim family: David, Pamela, and their daughter Margot.
Yeah. Yep. And so they basically, like I was saying, she creates the event on her computer and puts it in a date. And the way they tell the story is she puts the calendar, mom's coming home from the hospital, and then something happens, and then all of a sudden she very reluctantly like moves it down like to 2 weeks later, and then she like deletes the event, and then you see the funeral or something like that for her mom.
Yeah,
so
she adds like the funeral event like later that month, right? Because the mom's going through like chemo treatments and stuff like that. So
right, so it's like established that this whole family is, the mom dies, daughter and dad are having a little bit of tension in some ways, and then I'm trying to remember the whole scene. It's like the dad is FaceTiming the daughter. They have a little conversation. He's giving her a hard time because she didn't take out the trash.
Right, because we're you see like the timeline change, and now we're on like the dad's laptop and on his iPhone.
Yeah,
and things like that.
And so the first note that I have written down on this, the first one I had was XP computer. The second one I said was acting ?
Right.
Because I did think like closer to the beginning. Like here's the thing: you want someone to bring you back down, I'll bring you back down. It's still good though; it's a good movie. But I did feel like there was a lot of parts in that movie where the acting was, it was just very, what's the word I'm looking for? It seemed kind of like rehearsed. It didn't seem like, if you ever did you see End of Watch, the cop movie?
Yes.
So like that literally felt like I was seeing real people filmed on a random handheld camera.
Right, I see what you mean.
But this one, sometimes it felt like, that feels a little bit like acting. You know, that sounds like a little bit like a script.
Yeah, it's right. It's like almost like a play happening on your computer kind of.
Was that just me, or did you feel that as well?
I definitely felt that. I definitely had more. It had more of a theatrical theater aspect to it, rather than just a candid, like this is real life, kind of like the Paranormal Activities with the found footage vibe, where they're not really acting; they're just watching. There's things happening around them, and it's just
because that's basically what this is. This is a found footage movie that takes place from the computer's perspective,
but
which
it's
is
also
a really cool
somewhat
idea.
of a drama, right? It's somewhat of a drama, somewhat of a mystery, somewhat of a thriller.
Now I don't know
a movie. I would say
I don't know if it. I'm trying to think if I can see this being a big genre. I feel like it's kind of a gimmick that you can't do for very long.
Well, the idea is that it keeps telling more stories in different ways. So a romantic comedy would be told through the screen, and then you get creative in that realm, and you take it in different directions. You know, I could see it. I never imagined they could pull off what they did with this movie. And the director himself, Aneesh Chaganty, that's kind of the vibe he was going for. Is like I'm trying to do things that people aren't doing. Like I'm trying to bring together more immersive experiences, taking different routes and paths. And I think this movie can help open the door to maybe people getting more creative with different immersive experiences. Because I think of like things like VR and technologies like that, and screens and where we're going in that realm. And so I feel like it opens the door for like maybe a future genre in that way, if that makes sense.
I suppose, I guess it could be similar to like The Office. You know, The Office had its style that it did, and then a lot of
everyone started doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it being used, I suppose. Yeah, I guess. It did seem kind of gimmick. It seemed kind of gimmicky sometimes. Like, it was interesting. Like, it's definitely fresh and, like, an interesting thing to see. But I don't know how many films I could watch like this until I'd be like, all right, I think I'm kind of done with this genre. Kind of like found footage.
I was going to say, that's how I felt with, you know, after watching Unfriended and then watching that, I was like, okay, I guess this is it. And then I went to see Searching. I was like, okay, it's just going to be just like these other movies. And then it was completely different. And so I'm wondering if that's going to keep happening. Is the idea. And so I never would have imagined that they would take it the route that they did, and so I was pretty surprised, and I'm hoping that keeps happening. I keep being more surprised. It's just a hopeful future that I have for the genre, I guess.
I see a future with this genre. So I think like let's run through the story. I'm going to kind of blaze through it. So the dad starts investigating. Eventually, he finds out that the daughter took this money that he thought was going to go to
piano lesson.
Right, but she actually took it and she put it into her own account, and then she Venmo'd it all to somebody else. He goes to look at the account that she Venmo'd it to, and that account's deleted. Then this private investigator jumps in on the case, and she tells him, she tells him that, I think your daughter ran away. She must have got a fake identity. We found this fake driver's license. You know, she must have spent the money to get that. And so the dad's in the midst of trying to investigate this as well. And I'm giving you obviously like the 1,000-foot picture of all this stuff. So like dad's trying to investigate it. A bunch of things kind of come up and you learn things about him and his daughter. Apparently his daughter didn't like him very much. She was really upset about her mother. She's doing like this live stream thing. And then she just takes off. Okay. So what happened next?
Basically, when she went missing, and when he was working with the private investigator, he kept discovering more and more clues, and there was like some tension between him and the investigator. And then eventually what happens is that her going missing goes completely viral.
Oh yeah. So that's like the first twist. And that was the first part of the movie where I was like, that was good. Because so she goes missing and people start finding out about it. And like,
it becomes a national headline.
Tell you what, let's go back for a second. So she's missing and he doesn't know any of her friends. So he starts hunting through her Facebook and her contacts, and he starts calling all the people that he thinks she's friends with, and they're all like, nah, fam, like she's not my friend really. She was always by herself and she didn't hang out with any of us at all.
Right. So it's like you're seeing the double life happening, very similar to Gone Girl, where it's like all of a sudden the double life is being revealed very slowly, and you start peeling back more and more layers. And the way they do the character development in this is pretty clever in a lot of different. I really do enjoy. I really more enjoyed watching John Cho. I think that's just Jonathan Cho.
Yeah,
I
John
can't
Cho.
really. But I really enjoyed watching him as he developed, and there were creative ways that they utilized the computer screen to tell a lot about David as the character, and I just thought it was really cool. You know, the moments where he was like typing to her and texting to her, and he would delete something, and then he would type it again, and he'd delete something, and you're learning more about like what's off limits, what's not on limits between him and his daughter, and the same thing with his brother because his brother's also involved. And it becomes an interesting weaving, and it really is like a combination of like whodunit and also like a drama between him and his daughter, and it's really cool.
Yeah, so like there's like a scene where at the very beginning he says to her like, "Oh, you did this test. Don't worry. I'm proud of you no matter what your grade is." And then he sends that message. Right. And then he types out, "Your mother would be proud of you too." And then it just kind of sits there. And then he backspaces it and never sends it. Now, I did like that, but I like, this is where I was trying to figure out, like, it's like, am I noticing things that seem so on the nose because I'm a film person and a computer person? So as an example, they really spell things out. Like it almost seemed too far, like too obvious. But I think maybe it's because I'm such a computer person and a film person. So like, spoiler alert, I actually figured out a lot of things before they happened. I don't know how I knew it. I just knew it. So after a bunch of people start thinking this girl is murdered, which, spoiler alert, that's what they find out. They find her car in the water, but she's not in the car, and like this is big
find
thing.
Her stuff, yeah.
So it goes viral.
National news headline, yeah.
And then all these kids that were like, "Nah, man, I didn't know who she was." They're like crying on camera. They're making YouTube videos. He goes to Reddit. It's online.
Complete 180.
There's like podcast people talking about it. It's insane. Like that was good. I like that part a lot.
Yeah, it was a little too real. I was like, oh gosh, this is exactly how it would happen.
I know.
The meme, they made memes of the dad. Everyone suspected the dad did it. There was like a subreddit about it. It was insane. It was awesome.
I know, and I saw the guy doing the podcast, and I was like, no, that's me. And then I saw the YouTube videos and stuff, and I did notice. Because I know YouTube so well. Well, I mean, I'm like anyone would know YouTube. Like,
Whoa.
I looked down, and it was like some random girl, and it was like 150,000 subscribers. I was like,
Isn't that just like, that's exactly it right there. It's like, why does this person have such a fan base? All they do is talk at a camera. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep.
But so like it goes
Too
viral.
real.
And that was pretty like crazy, you know, to see all the headlines and to see it from his perspective.
Yeah.
Because you never see that in movies. In movies, it's just like, my daughter's missing. Oh man, like let's go find her. But this was like, my daughter's missing, and everyone on the internet is saying I did it.
Yeah.
And there's Reddits, there's memes, there's YouTube videos and podcasts, and like that was kind of surreal. I like that part a lot.
And all the details they're able to provide through this lens of through the computer screen is interesting, I think, in a character development sort of way. You know, like you said, we wouldn't see the dad experiencing this as effectively if it wasn't through a screen like that, because these are tools that we use and things that we use on a daily basis in our time. So I just was
funny.
Like, oh, I can feel this more now.
Definitely, yeah. And when the dad stumbles across one of the girl's accounts, and she has like a live stream channel, and he scrolls through it, and he had no idea, and there's like 30 videos or something of her doing different live streams.
His daughter, yeah.
Yeah, and like each of them had like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 views or something like that.
Yeah, he goes into her history, right? Doesn't he go into her like most used, and he finds UCast? Yeah, that's how he finds her channel.
Right. No, but it was funny though, because I kind of had a bad day earlier today, and like, well, it wasn't horrible. I just had some.
Tell us about your day, Luke.
No, but it was so funny because I was looking at, I was watching it, and he's scrolling through this. I'm like, oh, look at this channel with all these videos that don't have very many views, and I was like, wait. That's like my channel. I was
Too
like,
real right now.
PTSD moment, like, no, I know how she feels.
Why'd you have a bad day, Luke? What happened?
No. So that moment, my note says, oh man, after the car was found, YouTube. Right. Whoa. Because I like that part a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So then like some other things happen. And I'm trying to remember how I figured this out. I wrote this down so I would know that I remembered it.
Which part did you figure out? Because there's like 3 twists.
Okay,
basically.
Robert, wasn't that her son? Was that his name?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it Robert?
So.
I'm about to look in the. Yeah.
So the private investigators.
My note says we're spoiling this movie. My note says it's Robert. I just know it. And I think I figured that out when I think I saw his picture or something, and then I just saw him again. I just thought, I bet that's him. And then when he starts to come into the room,
right.
When she was talking to him on the phone, Robert, her son. So okay, sorry. The investigator is talking to the dad, and then the son of the investigator starts to come into the room. And she goes, "Not now. Go, whatever you're doing," and he leaves. Right. And I just thought, it's him. I know it's him. I don't know how. I just know it's him. Okay, so I knew that. The other thing I knew that was going to happen was the weed. I knew that.
Really?
I knew it was going to be weed. Because they showed the weed early.
It was 50-50 for me, but then I realized it was, like, once he entered the house, I was like, oh, it's clearly weed.
Right.
Because what happens is, okay, so there's a text conversation between his brother, David's brother, Peter, and his daughter that he discovers on his daughter's phone.
Right. So yeah, so the daughter's missing. We established that.
Right.
He's going through her stuff, and then he
finds this conversation late into the investigation.
Somehow he ends up looking at after everything kind of goes nuts, and the investigator's like, "You need to stop investigating this. Leave it to us." He starts going through his daughter's phone, and somehow, I don't remember what happens, but something starts him looking at a conversation she had with his brother, so her uncle.
He finds the hockey sticker because his brother's into hockey, and he finds the hockey pin in the car.
When they find the car, there's a sweater in the car, and it has the hockey team that his brother likes. So anyway, basically he goes through the message, starts reading through the messages. Okay, now you take over.
Very suggestive texts that are very ambiguous, like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. Oh, like, are you going to tell your dad? And so
if he finds out, he'll kill us.
If he finds out, he'll kill us. It's like, do you want to do it tonight? It's kind of
like leading you down this road of like, is something going on between?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. Don't tell your dad. Oh, if he finds out,
because you kind of
he'll
feel
kill
like
us.
his brother is kind of like secretive and leading this weird life. You see weed. There's a lot of weed in his apartment, and his brother's like, "Do you smoke weed like all the time now?" and stuff like that. And the brother's very evasive about it. But it turns out there's a reason why he was evasive about it, and it becomes a very interesting moment when the dad, who's kind of pretty much lost his cool. This is like pretty deep in the movie. He's lost, his capacity to think properly and his psyche, and he's been kicked off the case. Everything's gone viral. He's losing his mind basically.
Yeah,
and puts cameras in his brother's house to catch him like confessing to killing his niece, and
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah, so he sets up the cameras, and it's like this very tense moment where you're like, was him and the kid, were they were they having, and like, was he having sex with the girl, or like, was he giving her what was going on, and did he kill her? I don't know. And so then he goes over there, and the music's intense, and he starts questioning him, like, when did you last see my daughter? And like, are you keeping secrets from me?
Super
What's this?
intense scene.
Right, and so then
That's probably the best scene in the movie.
yeah,
I'd
it was a
say.
good scene. When he's reading the text messages, I was kind of like, oh man. But
Yeah, he just went at it. Yeah.
Yeah, but then when they get to the house, and he starts like, he's like pushing up against the wall. He's like, what did you do? What was it with my daughter and stuff? And then he just goes, it was weed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? Oh man, okay. He was just giving her weed.
right.
So then,
Exactly.
during that whole exchange, he starts getting messages from the detective, and the detective is like, we got him, we got the guy. And then I want to finish this up. I feel like people who are listening to this review probably know the story, so I just want to like run through it. So turns out, we kind of said this already, in the end, after a lot of other things happen, the daughter was taking weed from the uncle because she didn't want to go to her dad.
She was trying to cope with the fact that her mom died.
Right.
Because the dad would not talk about the mom because
Right.
it's too tragic for him to talk about, basically. He ignored
So
it.
so she takes her car and goes to the woods and smokes weed there.
That's what she always does. Yeah.
Yep. The son of the investigator watches the daughter's live stream and started talking to her.
Yeah.
And making up stories about how, my mom has cancer.
He
And
basically, he was trying to catfish her, right? Or is that catfishing when you make up an anonymous profile and you try to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he eventually, so the daughter eventually gives him money because she's like, well,
That's
crap.
the Venmo
Yeah,
transaction that they
right.
find. Yeah.
Because she wants to help pay for the cancer that his mom supposedly has, which was a lie. So he feels bad about having the money. So then he goes to go talk to her, and he follows her in his car to the woods.
Right.
And then he sneaks up on her and then says, like, tries to tell her, like, hey, I'm the person on the site. It was
Right.
me, but she's smoking weed, so she's high, and she freaks out and runs off. So he runs after her, and then
Robert,
he accidentally is like grabbing her, trying to get her to listen to him. She's struggling, and then he accidentally pushes her off a cliff.
Yeah, she goes down a ravine,
Right.
and that's that.
So then you think she's dead, and then he goes after the detective lady. She says that she was trying to help her son out and cover it all up. So it's like this
Yeah,
big
because
setup.
the son basically calls the investigator, calls his mom, who happens to be the investigator, and is like, Mom, I did something bad, and the mom's trying to cover it up. So even though she's the one investigating, her job is she's trying to protect her son. And so that's why there's so many weird twists, because you're just like, this makes no sense. And you're on this journey with the dad, because you realize the dad's super resourceful. He's super handy, very smart. I think he was a coder. Seemed like he was a coder, because you do see his work laptop.
Yeah, he's got
and
the
the
like,
stuff he
gaming
does.
laptop. Yep.
Yeah, and you see like his operating system. You're like, oh, you clearly code like that. And he's like talking about databases and all this stuff at his job, and it's
Yeah, I want us to wrap up the whole part about explaining the story, because like
Oh, but it's such a interesting story.
It's very
you know what I mean?
twisty, and it's interesting how it's done. I definitely recommend the movie. So, but like I said, I did have some issues with it. I thought that some of the acting and some of the directing, it didn't have quite as natural as a feeling as I would want it. Because you know how.
Well, it's hard to it's hard what they were going for, you know?
No, I get that, but I think I think that there are things that if they were more subtle, I would have liked them more, but they kind of spelled it out. But I feel like they had to spell it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, certain people might
techies,
not get it. Well, like when he finds out that that when he submits the form to that funeral thing, and then all of a sudden it shows the lady, like the girl, I immediately knew who it was.
Right, exactly.
But they kind of keep going and like spell it out, being like, this is a stock photo of this girl. But when I just saw it and it just sat there, I was like, whoa, I know who that is. But that's me, and maybe that's the filmmaker in me and the programmer in me. So I kind of can give them some leeway on that one.
Oh yeah,
because it's maybe some other people wouldn't have gotten it. So
I guess they had to try and like show. It was like the big reveal. Like, this is where you connect all the dots. That's kind of how thrillers are. I think good thrillers do that, but I do respect those films where they kind of leave you hanging, and it's just like you have to figure it out, or you have to be smart enough to figure this out like yourself, or maybe it's all up to interpretation. So there is something to that. I guess it is hard to, depending on what you're going for in a film like this. So
yeah, I think my favorite parts of that movie were the YouTube part where everything is going viral. Love that part.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
I love the scene where he thinks that his brother is like having sex with the daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
That was super good because it's just like the way it builds and the reveal. It's like I didn't see that part coming.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw the weed part. As soon as they started like talking, I knew it was going to be weed because I was like, well, they showed the weed at the beginning of the film, so I knew it was going to be weed.
Yeah.
And then the other part that I liked, I love the part when he connects the dots between Fish and Chips, the user that has been texting her, and like the stock photo. Like I really like that part too because it was like,
me too. Yeah.
Whoa! So it's good. It's a good movie for a lot of like surprises, which are good. Like a lot of little shocking moments.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
Now, what did you like so much about this movie? Because you definitely seem to, you brought it up, like, this is a movie I really like, and you talked about it being connecting to the younger generation in a way with all the, like, the gimmicks of the way that it was done. But, I mean, do you like found footage movies normally? Like, did you watch Paranormal Activity or anything like that?
I like Cloverfield.
Cloverfield's great. I love that
I like
movie.
Cloverfield, even though as someone with motion sickness, it'd be tough.
Oh,
and then I can't really remember a movie that I was like, I was surprised by Unfriended. So
I guess I should see Unfriended, but no. Here's the thing: like this movie did what Cloverfield did. Here's the thing: I like a lot of Cloverfield, like most of the movie, but the reason I love Cloverfield is because of the way that they did the end. Where it's like they're recording over a tape and then the camera stops recording. So then it cuts back in time. Oh, I love that so much. Because it's like they both die, but they get back together right before they die. And then it cuts back to earlier in the tape or earlier in time, what was being taped over. Oh man, I just love Cloverfield. That's such a good movie. But like this movie did the same thing where to as the ending, so the way the film ends, the daughter is in the hospital and someone takes a photo of them. So you don't even see her in the hospital. You just see a photo of her and her dad in the hospital. And like they're like smiling because they're like, oh, she's alive. I got her back. This is great. We're reunited. The film ends with the girl taking that photo and setting it as her desktop background. And then she turns off the computer. So all the icons and windows close and it just kind of like, it's almost a way of drawing in focus to them happy and together again, which I love that kind of stuff. That was really clever.
Right. But I mean, there's a lot of cool cinematography effects as well. I mean, you've kind of spelled it out. I clearly believe, me personally, I really like the cinematography aspect. That surprised me. It helps with the immersion. what they were able to put together with certain scenes and arranging certain windows and different functions of the computers and the iPhones and all the technology that's available in order to form an actual scene on screen is pretty clever.
I'm trying to think of like, would I have liked this movie if it was just a regular movie? Like not filmed through a computer like that?
I don't think there would have been as much there because there's a lot told through the screen that wouldn't have been as effective on a movie set. I mean,
yeah, I feel like
there's a lot of details and a lot of rabbit holes that you go down because of all the details on the screen. You know what I mean?
It takes the parts of the movies. I feel like most movies. Okay, hold up. Let me think about what I'm saying. Most of this movie is literally the montage part of other movies, where they show someone like on the computer and it's like type, website, scrolling, type, print, type, print, click, and then it's like, I know who did it.
I wouldn't say most of the movie is like that.
Yeah, it is, because it's all on the computer.
No, but most of the movie is not montage-like. There are genuine scenes.
No, I'm not saying it's montage-like. I'm saying that the parts of movies that are usually a montage is a lot of this movie.
I see.
Him opening a chat window and chatting to somebody on a text message and reading emails and looking at Facebooks and copying things into Word documents. That normally would be like a 30-second montage of like print stuff going on. And then it would cut back and they're walking through a hallway and he's got the sheets of paper and he's talking to the other guy. All right, so I got this information on so-and-so. This is what we learned. This is their best friend. And it's like that would have been, the whole movie would have been summed up in like 30 seconds. So it's interesting to see that part of a movie because you never see that part.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was like a very interesting twist to it.
And it's nice. They were able to convey emotions through a lot of these actions, which was really cool. Like obviously the example we talked about, deleting the part about the mom, and then later on in the movie he talks about his mom he talks about the mom on iMessage to his daughter, and the daughter is obviously very happy about that. And little details like that, right? Emotions conveyed just through these words and things like that. I think that's, and then on top of like the conversations you see through the camera, I think just add a lot to it and add a lot more to the story than there would have been.
I did have to suspend my disbelief a little bit because I was like, nobody FaceTimes that much.
If your daughter goes missing.
I know, but like you don't FaceTime the detective. But here's the thing. It's suspending my disbelief because it's like, dude, it's for the movie. What are you gonna just have him on the phone? You have to have FaceTime. But it was just kind of funny to me because I was like, realistically, that's not the way it works. But
he may not FaceTime as much, right? But
well, he wouldn't FaceTime the detective.
But he would still make all those calls. It would just be on a different platform.
He wouldn't FaceTime the friend. He wouldn't FaceTime his daughter's friend in her bedroom. You know, like, but see this. Yeah, like, I'm not saying that there's
her, right.
Yeah, but like they did FaceTime because it's like, well, we want to be able to see the character.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But that's where I'm different from some people because I noticed it, but I'm also like, well, dude, what else were they supposed to do? Like, it's fine. The movie, it's a movie.
Right, because you're still limited. Because it's still a movie, right? You're still limited in that way on a movie, the same way you're limited in a play. So.
So the acting, I think it sounded like we both agreed that like it was
theater-ish, right? Yeah, definitely theater-ish. Yeah, you could feel the acting from the actors, not like a very candid feel.
Yeah.
Like you said, like with the End of Watch, but
End of Watch is so good. I love that too.
I enjoyed many aspects of it, obviously, and I think what sealed the deal for me was definitely the ability to, I have to think what I'm going to say. The ability to really tell a story with very little and really make the viewer pay attention to details that they might have missed before. And I think that's part of the immersive experience is I watched this movie once and I can tell you so many details, and I can watch it probably again tomorrow and come away with many different details because there's so many interesting Easter eggs. There was a reference to the movie Unfriended in the very beginning of the movie, which was really cool.
Is there a tie to this?
No, it's just the fact that it takes place on the desktop, the whole movie.
Okay.
So it's
Let me look up this Unfriended movie. I'm looking it up.
It all takes place on a Skype conversation, and it's like a horror film. So
it didn't look good, but I didn't really know anything about
it's not.
it either.
It's not great, but it's just kind of cool that they did it all on Skype. Like the whole movie was filmed on Skype.
Okay, let me see.
I like
this.
that.
It's an interesting idea. It's like a concept thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bold concept. That's the thing. It's like even if it sucked, it's like, well, that was kind of like took some guts to try and do that sort of thing.
And this movie did take home the quote unquote next audience award at Sundance for the idea that it's going to speak to the younger generations and people are going to talk about it like as a cult classic kind of vibe.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Let me look at the awards for
not Unfriended.
Searching. Yeah.
Searching.
I
don't know if this is like.
Yeah, it did win a next audience award at Sundance.
I don't know if this is anything Oscar like related, maybe for creativity, but I can't see it any other way that it would be an Oscar nom. So
yeah, I don't think.
But it has good reviews though, because people are enjoying it, because it's so different,
Yeah, it is one of those like I hate to use the word fresh, but it felt like a fresh movie. Like it was. The thing is, I don't think I can watch. I don't know how rewatchable it is really. I think it's something everyone should watch it, but I can't see myself being like, dude, in 5 years being like, dude, let's go watch that movie again. But that's me.
Do you do that with any movies where you just want to watch the movie again? Like other than like Lord of the Rings?
Baby Driver. No.
Oh, Baby Driver. that movie was okay.
What? I love that movie.
The intro scene was good, but that was pretty much it.
What? The whole movie's good.
Last half of the movie needed some more there. I'm just kidding.
Where's your wife? I need to have her gang up on you on this. She likes Baby Driver too.
So I did notice the director is only 27. Kind of cool.
Oh man, as if I wasn't feeling like a failure enough today.
Yeah, I was just trying to plant that seed in you.
That's right. And now he's already. Yep. Well, good on him.
I think he filmed like an entire movie backwards, kind of like in a Memento kind of vibe, something like that. But it was actually backwards, and it told a movie backwards. So I don't really know how that worked, but I just was reading something about that. So this kid's very creative.
Yeah, I guess he's a new guy. I'm looking at him now.
Yeah, he doesn't have much. He's a newbie. So
yeah,
it's kind of like his new thing. So
that's pretty awesome to get that sort of recognition on such an early film.
Yeah, this is his first film. People are enjoying it. He got a Sundance Award, film festivals. People enjoyed it.
I feel like that would almost be not good for you though, in some ways. Like imagine
at first.
Well, like I really appreciate the things I succeed at because I failed at other things, and so I'm trying to imagine like if you made your first film, and it just did amazing, and
like
did perfectly. Well, yeah, that's
Memento was his like first, other than like his shorts.
Yeah, or like Tarantino or something.
Right. It was just there's some directors, man, they just kind of kill it, and then become household names at that point. I don't know if this guy's going that way, but
then like M. Night Shyamalan though, like could go like him too,
right.
where
his
first film was insane, like it was like this cult classic, like a classic, not even a cult classic.
It's still people still talk about it. That's a movie you still pop
iconic,
in.
Really, that's iconic, I think. And now all of a sudden it's like as the other movies just kept going downhill, like they were still good, but when I had my first beer, the first beer I had was like a Bud Light, and I told my friend that I was like, yeah, it was a Bud Light, and he goes, dude, that's good. You don't want to have the best beer first, then it's all downhill. You got to just start low and then like move up, And
right,
so I was like, that's fair. That's a good point. I can appreciate that one.
I could see this movie being rewatchable for younger, because there's a lot of details going on throughout the entire movie. And so if you go to watch, like I said, if you go watch Unfriended and you come back, you're like, oh, I didn't catch a few of those Easter eggs there. Things like that. And when you're paying attention to less of the focus of what's on screen, like the character, and you can actually see what they're looking at in the computer screen window, and look around at what he actually has on screen. When it reveal his desktop and there's 50 icons on there, you can't obviously scan it all once and get everything from it. So I do like that vibe, I guess.
Right.
So
And
I would at least watch it again.
it's almost like I would say the movie feels like if someone who was making a documentary was given all the footage of all the stuff that was kind of going on. Like they got all the news footage, they got the Skype calls and the desktop recordings, and then they made a movie out of it. Because it does like crop in, and it pans around, and it zooms in, and there's music. But
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think it works fine. But like that's basically what's like. It's not like you just see the screen. It like zooms in and out and crops in and cuts into different things and stuff.
And that's actually new, because like Unfriended and The Den didn't do that. It was a static desktop.
What in the world? I don't know how I can watch that movie. I'll have to look into it. But I'm trying to think of like,
you've been spoiled now because you watched this.
That's true. I'm trying to figure out what I would rate this film out of 10, and I'm thinking that when it comes to
8.
let me explain something first. So like, I feel like I give different ratings for different movies. Like smaller movies, I rate different. Like small brave movies, I rate differently
films,
than giant production. Like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Blockbuster.
Yeah, I was trying to think of this.
Oscar worthy.
It doesn't matter.
Oscar grab movies. A Spielberg film versus Aneesh.
Yeah, like like Avengers versus Inception versus this movie versus
Black
A Quiet
Hawk Down,
Place,
Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
It
like
makes sense.
like A Quiet Place, I think of very differently than I do Inception.
Yeah, and I would say that's somewhat of a concept film, right? A Quiet Place. It was different in that way.
It's like a small scale film.
Right.
And it's like a concept. So like I would give A Quiet Place probably like a 9.5 or a 9. Like I really like that movie. But it's kind of a simple movie.
Right.
But I just really enjoyed the movie, and I think they did everything really well. But Inception is like 10 out of 10, but on a different scale, because it's a difficult movie to make in pretty much every way, and they still nailed it.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So this movie...
No, I know what you're saying.
I would give this movie, in its small scale, probably, I'd say a 7 or 7.5, probably.
Yeah, I'm actually changing mine to a 7.5.
For its boldness, though, I would give it like an 8 or 9 in in that category, because it was very bold and original in that way. But it's a little gimmicky, and
well, it
worked really well.
It's speaking to a new generation, and so I give it 10 out of 10 in that realm. Overall 7.5. But that's on a scale like I'm like you, right? I rate movies differently depending on the scale, the concept, the genre, things like that. I would never rate a romantic comedy probably the same way I would rate Saving Private Ryan. Right. So it's just different. And so I would give a 7.5 in that realm. Way better than if you've seen these desktop thrillers before, you'll really enjoy this if you enjoyed something like Unfriended for its creativity in that way. So go see Searching in that if you're a fan.
yeah, it's a good one. I think it's definitely... I want to hear what other people think. I have not
me too. Yeah.
watched or listened to any reviews on it. I don't know what anyone else is saying about it.
I want everyone to hate it. So I'm just like, wow, my opinions suck.
That'll be interesting. I try not to give biased opinions. So like all the things you heard today was my honest thoughts on it. So we'll see how everyone else reacts to it after this. So, but
in case it wasn't obvious, they find the daughter and everyone lives happily ever after, I guess.
Except for the mom and the son, because
mom goes to jail, baby. Poor guy.
That's a tale of the malevolent mother.
But can't you imagine an actual story like that happening though? Not so much the mom, but like a kid who like stalks a girl and then accidentally kills her, and then I guess in this case it's his mom's an investigator. But I could definitely see a kid doing that nowadays. Yeah. Like some shut-in kid, because you get the vibe that Robert's definitely not all there socially. He's socially awkward. I don't know if he's like slow or artistic. You can't really tell, but he's definitely just off, and that's basically what happens as a result of that. So, and the mom's trying to defend him. So
yeah, I can see it happening. I really can. The other thing that happens too is the mom gets some felon, like someone who committed a crime.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
then she like drugs him up, and then
that's the we got him part. By the way.
Yeah, they kind of she kind of tricks people into thinking like, we got the guy who killed your daughter. Here's him on a confession tape, and then he committed suicide. When really, she like forced him to read the confession, and then she killed him or something.
And it's actress Deborah Messing, and I think she did a great job acting, because she had a good blend of putting on a facade while also having emotional cracks. And I think she did that real well, because you realize that the facade she's doing is on purpose, because she's literally faking all of this.
Yeah, I think that the one thing they definitely put a lot of shotguns on the wall, where they'll say things and if the shotgun's on the wall in the first act, it needs to be used by the second act, otherwise it shouldn't be there. Right. They did a lot of that in this film, where it's like, she was the best in her class, top investigator. Here she is helping all the villains or the ex-felons and stuff like that. And you're just kind of hearing that going like, I feel like that's for a reason. And then when they said, well, she's most likely dead. We didn't even see her, but like, we know she has to be dead. You're like, okay, I know she's alive, which I feel like that's okay, but there's a lot of foreshadowing.
All the time.
Like,
yeah, that happens all the time in like investigations. So I was still along for the ride. It was when, it was the whole fish and chips thing. So fish and chips is the name of that the son takes anonymously on the streaming site. The whole fish and chips thing is what threw me for a loop and got me on suspicion. I was like, okay, there's something wrong here, because there's no way fish and chips, the user, is actually that girl, that stock photo girl. And then when you see the stock photo, basically what the big reveal happens, I don't know if we went over it, but he's setting up the funeral, he sees the stock photo, and it matches the profile of the kid, and that's how everything gets discovered. And what's interesting, and Sarah pointed this out, the service that he used for the funeral sent him an email when everything went viral and they were searching for the daughter and they couldn't find her. It had been a week, I believe. I believe this movie took place in is it 5 or 7 days? It was something like that.
Yeah, it's like 5 days.
And he gets this email from the funeral service before they find her body. And what Sarah was like, when he finds the stock photo of the girl on the funeral site and connects the dots, Sarah thought that maybe the funeral service was fake and this girl was setting things up, because Deborah Messing's character claims that the fish and chips user with the stock photo is actually someone. And so Sarah didn't think that, didn't suspect.
Yeah, I thought it might have been something like, whoa, it's a huge conspiracy. But then it was like, it wasn't quite as extreme. Yeah. But I did think it could be.
That would have been kind of cool. That would be a cool, like, alternate ending if there was like this whole conspiracy going on with this chick. And, oh yeah, that would have been interesting. But anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good. We're going to wrap up this episode because we're at our time limit. So I think it's a good movie. Definitely go see it.
Luke needs to go to bed. He's had a bad day. He's cranky.
He's had a bad day. It wasn't even that bad of a day. It just was like a handful of things that all happened at the same time. You know, and it's like, all right, that's kind of annoying. Well, that's kind of annoying. Wait a second. And like, then it's like, oh, I can't. I'm trying to juggle things. And so I was texting Nick and I was trying to explain to him, like, I'm trying to do research on this movie. I can't though. Plans have shifted and I can't research it as much as I want to. But we ended up pulling it all together, last minute. So that's good.
Unless you hated the episode, then it was bad. If you really hated the episode, let us know.
If you really hated the episode, leave us 5 stars on iTunes.
And a review that just telling us how bad it was.
But with 5 stars. Okay, you have to do 5 stars. Please
That's the only thing we ask.
We're not popular enough. Just give us 5 stars, please. If you don't give us 5 stars, it will hurt our feelings. Please don't do that.
We might go viral if you give us 5 stars. So.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Nick, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
My name is I Love Drummond on all social media platforms. That's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. No G, I Love Drummond, all one word. You can find all my drum videos. I'm trying to upgrade my system a little bit in the next few months. So I'm trying to update my interface, maybe add like a compressor or a reverb processor or something to really make my drums shine more. Give them more power, I guess, because what I do is hard. I put tracks over already made drum tracks. I'm not putting fresh drum tracks. And so I have to really compress and nail down these drums so that they're bigger than the drums on the track, and then EQ the track accordingly. So it's just tough. Anyway, but I'm trying to upgrade my system. So give me a comment saying what you think about the sound, if you like it or not. Luke seems to like it. Other people seem to like it. But if you're like a sound engineer and you can give advice, I would love that. That's it.
Yeah, all his videos are really cool, by the way. I know we've mentioned them a few times, but like if you are interested in drumming, some of the first things I saw Nick ever do was drumming, and he's really good. I always try to like your videos when I see them because I really enjoy watching them. And once again, it's I Love Drummond without the G at the end. Check him out on his Instagram and his
Check
YouTube.
me out. I'm mostly on Instagram. I mostly post videos on there, so you can find all my stuff on there. 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute.
Yep.
I try to put stuff
go
together.
critique his drumming and his sound recording. Be nice, but let him know if there's something he can do to
be real.
set his thing up better. So you can follow me on Twitter at Luke Roxwold, LukeRockswold. You can follow my YouTube channel, Luke Roxwold Vlogs. I am getting ready to post up a new video. I had some things happen last night because Thread was accepted into the Toronto Film Festival. Woo! And I had to send them a file that's called a DCP, which is a digital cinema package.
What?
And they were like, it's
that?
kind of hard to do on your own. It's basically you convert the file into something. And they're like, you should send it to this company and they'll convert it for you.
What?
And it's $250. $250. What? So I was like,
you did it?
No.
Oh.
I figured out how to do it myself.
Oh,
And
thank God.
I sent them to them this last night. So that was I've been having a lot of fiascos the last couple of days. That's why I think I was in a weird mood this
Fiascos.
morning. You know, where it's like, oh, you have to send the footage to us, but we have to convert it for you, and it's going to cost $250 for $250.
But wasn't it? It's all worth it in the
insane.
end. Wouldn't you say so?
Well,
You got accepted.
yeah, but I'd rather it be free. I don't want to pay $250 to convert my video file. That's
But
silly.
it ended up being free, right? You did it yourself,
Yep, yeah.
and
I mean, I
it got
figured
submitted.
it out. But what I was saying is I was editing a vlog that I was hoping to get up this morning, but I didn't get a chance to finish it because all this other stuff happened that I had to juggle, but I got that figured out. So there's a new vlog coming soon. It is my trip to Chicago and the wedding of my friend Josh. It's a really funny video and moving, actually, at some points. I am looking forward to posting it, and I apologize for not posting more videos more often, but I can only do so much in a day. So thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate your support. Please give us 5 stars. It's really easy. Look, search for
it's
We're
not
All
hard,
in the
guys.
Same Boat. Go to iTunes.
It's the only podcast,
The
called
podcast
that.
app, yep. Type in, we took a long time trying to figure this name out. So go to the podcast app and type in We're All in the Same Boat, and then just scroll to the bottom, click 5 stars. You don't have to leave any review, you don't have to type anything. Just hit 5 stars, it'll register it. That's it. Super easy. If you guys can do that, that would be awesome.
Tell us
Thanks
if you
for
like
listening.
Chicago hot dogs or Chicago pizza more.
Chicago hot dogs.
Chicago dogs, man. They're like a classic.
Is that I've never had.
You went to
Chicago.
What? You went to Chicago and didn't have a hot dog?
Had pizza.
All right, so you would probably prefer pizza then.
There's
You'll
a thing
leave a
called
review.
There's a thing called a Seattle dog.
Seattle dog? Well, it's probably not as good as a Chicago dog, although you wouldn't know.
The Seattle dog is like a hot dog with cream cheese
Oh, yeah.
and sriracha and onions.
Whoa.
Super
Okay, I got to
good.
try that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it. Check out our other episodes when we get the chance. When we get the chance. When you get the chance.
When I get the chance. This is all about me. I'm on the
All right,
podcast.
everyone, thank you. Well, yeah, welcome, Nick. He's on the podcast officially. That's awesome. 3, 2, 1, outro music.
I'm on the podcast, guys.